I was thinking maybe you should put a counter on your office chair to see how many times you spun it around. It is, yeah, it was a 10, this was a 20 day. It was really bad.
There'd have to be a pretty big counter.
So you mean you don't have enough numbers for that?
Exactly. It'd have to. I think it needs to be a 7-figure.
Okay, if
We.
if you brought your chair home,
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing nobody would bat an eye. Like, all right, there goes Phil with a chair, and then you put an engine on it and a button, and then back in the office, so you don't have to do the feet shuffle. You just like, it's time for a round. Then you press a button and perfect 360, and then you're back, and then you continue working, and then.
I mean, are we talking electric motor or two-stroke?
I was assuming truth.
I was assuming two-stroke.
Well, that would be, yeah.
It would break the silence of the otherwise monotonous office of people, studiously just tapping away.
You did say that you have those rocket motors that needed something to do as well.
Hey, rocket-powered office chair.
I mean, that's one thing, but office carousel. I've seen people making office chairs propelled with fire extinguishers and whatnot, and but how many rocket motors do you need to make it spin you a whole round?
Well, obviously you need enough thrust to get over the inertia, but once you're going, centrifugal force should take care of a lot of it.
Yeah, if you have a decent office chair and you lube up all the bearings and make it as close to zero resistance as possible, yeah.
I'll have to put a request in for a nice, Herman Miller or something really expensive. Yeah. Why do you need a $3,000 office chair? Because I want to strap a rocket motor to it.
And I think the bearings are better on this one.
For science. I'm sure they'd go for it. Heaven knows they waste money in all other kinds of ways.
I mean, as long as you flag it with something to do with office ergonomics, they can't really deny you, because they have all these mandatory courses on like how to posture right when you're working at a desk and whatnot, and you should not sit like this on the chair. So it's very hard for them to deny you when you're coming like, I need this 4,000-pound office chair because it helps my posture, and you just reference those online courses you took.
I'm doing a self-imposed time and motion study as well. How does a rocket-fired chair improve my office productivity?
I can't see it not. So
No.
On that hypothesis, you have enough to test. Yeah,
I suppose another way around of it, if you set it up with some sort of timer, whereby if you're sitting down for too long, you run the risk of a countdown beginning and the rockets like firing you out the window or something.
Yeah.
So you have to reset that timer by getting up and doing something.
Or every time you write a naughty word on your computer, the rockets scoot you back from it, so you don't accidentally send an email that you shouldn't.
I always wanted to do where they basically just duct tape like these spray can air horns under a chair, and when you pull the lever to lower it down, it's just like honk. But I realized that once people have set their chairs, and in today's office environment, they're more likely to adjust the table than the chair. So the question is, I've seen you now can like have it's a $2 remote switch, and then it's $1 for a solenoid valve and a battery. could you make a remote-controlled air horn for less than £4? I mean, that's expendable. And then you can place it and control it at your whim. You not have to wait for someone to push the button, and you can hide it in the office landscape somewhere. You can be in the building next door because, of course, it's a glass building, so you have the panoramic view, but nobody expects you when you're sitting on the other side, and you hide it somewhere, and you just press it like, honk, and then people like they jump out of their seats, but it's not long enough for them to know where it is. And you're just sitting there on your office space working on the other side, and
you
20
are giving
minutes,
me some
20
truly
minutes,
terrible ideas.
20 minutes later, honk.
I suppose another thing is the older gas lift chairs. You know, eventually they just start to fail. So you set your height in the morning, but then by lunchtime you've started to sink. So you just have a very, very slow release air horn.
Yeah.
That's the problem, though. We're having great ideas, and then it ventures into something actually useful. So instead of fixing the chair, you could make a sensor on the table that measures the distance to said chair, and then you just piggyback that onto the electronics that adjust the table height. So at whatever height your chair is at, it auto adjusts the table.
But do you want to be a chaos goblin and set it to just the wrong height? So just the chair and it's a centimeter off.
Always right up under your armpits. That's where you want the table.
Yeah. Chaos Goblin with the inverse adjustment. So as you gently, slowly sink down in your chair, the table gets higher and higher at the equal rate. So eventually you're just hanging there like this, trying to type.
Yeah. That's the fun. It needs a bit of effort, but all the office tables, at least at our offices, it's the same brand. So if you spend your lunch one day opening the box, because the up and down button, as far as I see, it's usually very easy. It might even be as easy as they have a common ground lead and 2 leads for up and down. So that's the only 2 points you have to hijack to control the table. So instead of a remote controlled air horn, you go on AliExpress and you buy 20 of those circuit boards for £0.50 and 20 of those and like a 10 pack of remote controls. And these are so simple that they have this array of flipping switches to pair them. So you can make one control remote operate like 10 receiver units. And then, of course, you need to go into your office one evening when people are not there. And you just attach a module to 10 random desks. And then you can sit at the same place in the neighboring building and just press the button, and then you see their tables just racing for 5 centimeters. And like, what? And then try to adjust it down again, and 10 minutes after it goes up again, and then it goes down. And of course, you could automate this and put it so you don't have to control it at all. So that they would just have tables going up and down.
Yeah, I would want them individual so I could plug it into a MIDI keyboard or something like that to control them individual, like playing the, or maybe
Playing
get a
your
wave going up and down in a waveform. That would probably increase productivity a lot, I feel.
Do the wave puppets.
And then you give it to your manager. Master, now you can control them even more.
Yes. It's 10:15. It's time for the mandated Mexican wave. Doesn't matter if you want to join in or not, you will be. Your desk and chair will join in for you. Scream if you want to go faster.
Too many ideas, too little time.
I know.
As always.
So many good ideas. Is anyone writing any of this down?
No, we're recording it.
I was going to say, but you can listen back to the recording.
That's a very good point.
And
That's
again,
why we have the recording.
Is that what this is for? This is not a podcast, is it? It's just a think tank. It's an idea session.
Yes, and for anyone listening, we would like to remind you that this is for entertainment purposes only. None of these ideas are meant to be executed.
Unless for views.
Exactly. or pettiness, even better.
Petty views.
I built an army of robot desks because because pettiness.
Yeah. Do you need a
I
wife?
mean, now I want one of those fancy flexi-spot desks that have individual motors for the legs, and try to make a walking robot out of it.
Oh, I thought because you just wanted to control one of them and then slide everything on that desk off. Like, you're not working anymore today.
I mean, you raise the two opposite corners, so it's just balancing on two, and then you tilt it, or that's.
Oh, that's brilliant, because that is really annoying when your table is rocking back and forth. So that sod is going to go to the copying room and get a piece of paper and meticulously fold it and put it under one of the legs to get a stable table. And then, yeah, this is perfect. And then 5 minutes later, he readjusts it. Fuck, it's wobbly again.
You could also have, like P45 mode, where a box will appear at the end of the desk and it'll just tip up and everything just slides into the box. Thank you very much for your employment.
Well, that's a business idea, isn't it? Termination services. Are you in HR? Are you tired of this tedious end interviews and layoffs? Hire KPH retirement services. Fully automated.
I think then we're back to that motorized office chair as well. Just drive them out of the building.
Yeah, with the table and everything on it.
Just dump it on the sidewalk and then drive back in.
Yeah,
they haven't even been told they've been let go. They're just all of a sudden they're doing their thing, and all of a sudden they're off. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, and once they're through the door, you deny the access to their access card and everything. So yeah, it's rather easy. On the other end, I saw they have some. I think it's something in Japan. I haven't quality checked the sources here, but I saw that they have something called not quiet quitting, but quiet letting go. They just, instead of firing people, they just stop inviting them to meetings, don't giving them any tasks or whatnot. And I was, I'm listening. And then it turns out in Japan, you're being frozen out from your workplace. You're still getting paid, but the disgrace of not being invited anymore just makes people to quit by themselves. So it's a strategy that works in Japan, but
it would not work here.
Oh no! I wish they would try it like me. Yeah, nobody invites me to meetings. I don't get any tasks. We just keep paying, and someday he will leave.
I love it when they forget me in the meeting chains.
Exactly.
Oh, well, you're not in that meeting? No, tragically, I wasn't.
The problem is, though, I call for a lot of meetings, and then for some reason, then people expect me to be there, and I think that's a wrong assumption to make. This meeting needs to happen. These people need to be involved, but there is no automatic that since I called a meeting, I need to be there. I just identified a problem. If I could have solved it myself, I would just have done so. So when I'm calling for a meeting and some people with various backgrounds, that's because they have the backgrounds that I don't need to solve something. So then I could just not be in that meeting.
It's just a facilitator.
Yeah.
I think you have to be very clear in the meeting title what it is about. But I thought maybe
instead of hello, this and that, and like, this meeting is about : The problem is such and such, and solution needed. That's all you need in a meeting invite. And then you just invite the right people, and then afterwards, like, send me a solution. That is the most efficient way to run a meeting, but still it's frowned upon.
I had an idea. You should go to your manager's computer when he or she is not looking, and then add a dummy email address to yourself in their address book. So next time they invite you to a meeting, it goes somewhere else, so you don't get that meeting. And why didn't you come to me? I haven't got an invitation. Looking in my calendar, I haven't got anything.
Yeah, that
could work for a week at least.
Yeah, and another thing that you could do, but that would make them look into your email address, so it wouldn't work for very long. But sometimes if you have someone that quits, or you got something wrong in an email address, you get an email back that we could not deliver to this one, and then it's a lot of script text and whatnot, and you can recognize the email address there somewhere. You could just put that as an auto reply on your email. So when someone sends you an email, they just instantly get, we could not deliver to this address, something. Best regards, admin, with love. And then they would like, all right, so that's not his email address then. And then they would spend a few days trying to figure out. And yeah, but on the contact lists internally, it says that this is his email. Try send a new one. You probably wrote something wrong. Try again. No, we could not deliver to. So, I mean, you could keep someone going for at least a couple of days before they're on to you.
Once again, we are in the presence of a genius.
You're welcome.
But they'll probably call you at that point. And that's even worse.
Yeah, do we have a similar option for...
Do you want your mobile phone on the do? The recipient can't be reached.
Yeah. It's currently in the meeting. Yeah.
The number you have dialed has not been recognized. Please check and try again.
Why don't I have that as answering?
Oh,
that's so good. I should have that.
Do you know anyone that have that classic British voice, the mind the gap? Because I could easily produce a list over things that I would like in that direction that someone needs to record, but it needs to sound legit.
Probably find it on Fiverr.
Yeah,
you probably get an AI model to do it for you.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah. Or you could pay someone with a plummy voice to do it for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
So speaking of that, since you mentioned it, KJ, mobile phone, I don't receive text messages all the time, and I can't receive or open any attachment, and my phone keeps disconnecting from the network at random times. So before Christmas, as I mentioned, I did a hard reset on the phone. That did not work. I got a replacement SIM card from my operator in case it was the old SIM card, because they had it for ages. No, that didn't work. So I'm looking into getting a new phone. I realized that I had my phone now for close to 5 years. And of course, they have become expensive. And I would like to have a phone with at least the same amount of RAM and memory as the phone I already have. But with the RAM prices being what they are, they're downsizing the phones. Not downsizing the price, though. That's worth to mention. And then I got a question for you. The reason I got my previous phone was because I used it also during recording, and it has a jack input. So it's very nice for my Rode microphone. But after I got my camera, I don't very often record with my phone anymore. And you get these dongles, so you can connect headsets, makeshift, or a microphone if you need to. But do I really need a jack today? Because if I don't, then the vast array of phones to choose from is better. And also, that being said, I found one phone company they make a phone where you can actually open up and take and replace the battery, and you can also they actually have public domained their design files for the back cover, so you could just drag and drop that into any CAD software and design your own case and whatnot. So I really like that, but they didn't have the jack. So I'm like, do I trade my principle for always going for the traditional jack for the possibility of 3D printing covers to my phone?
I mean, there can't be that many phones that have jacks now, audio jacks nowadays.
Not many, but there are still. I found 3 at least with the spec that I wanted, and of course the price point varies.
I'm just looking at this is my work phone, issued by work, so it's very cheap. And that's got a headphone jack on it. And this is a Samsung A25, I think.
I was going to say, but since it's a company one, it's probably a batch that they bought up, which someone has, like, we're selling this cheap because it's 10 years.
It's quite slow, yeah.
Yeah.
I will give you that. It runs the latest OS, but yeah, it's not quick.
But I found a web page that it's almost like IMDb for phones, which was very nice because you could put in the ones that you were looking at, and you get a very good list, and it's standardized overall model, so it's very easy to compare functions.
Nice.
And then I compared some of them, and they range from $2 to $1 million, at least it feels like. And there are some minor differences, often in RAM, depending on how old they are, what software version they're running. And some of them says they're upgradable from like Android 12 to Android 14, but not any further. And the problem is, on a computer, I mean, it gets slow to some point, but you can always upgrade it. But on phone, it feels like they're actually blocking, like, after that version, you're not allowed to install the new one. So there are some trickery there to get you to buy a new one, which means that my old phone, 5 years, although it's still working, you can't upgrade it to anything new. So now, of course, apps start to not work because they're not written in the latest version for the operating system I'm running. But that's a different story. But comparing the phones, there are some minor differences, but usually not that much. And then I'm thinking, like, what are you, like a £2,000 phone? What are we really paying for? I mean, yes, it's the brand, and now they are reducing the RAM, but everybody now they have AI camera, AI this, AI that. So that they just slap that on like cloak and daggers just to mask the fact that we are downgrading everything else, but you now got AI. So I feel that it might be time to get a new phone now, because it's going to be the last proper phone I can get before they start downsizing and just push AI on everything. And I don't want that in a phone.
Yeah.
What's the reason you're looking for? Sorry, hang on.
What? You don't want to speak properly? Not sound like
Sorry, like
a whiskey commercial?
A gravel monster. Is the reason you're looking for a jack for a microphone input?
Yeah, it is, for the off chance that I use it as a second camera while filming, because then it's nice.
You've got is your wireless mics, are they DJI or are they Rode?
Rode. Or Röd, because that's not how you pronounce that letter. That is our letter. The O with the like, yeah. The company can say what they want, but they got it wrong. Sorry. Yeah, continue.
I stand thoroughly corrected. Because my DJI wireless mic set has got a USB-C plug on it, and you just plug that straight into a phone, and it works. So no wires required. I don't know if you're rude.
That's brilliant, actually. Yeah, that's a 9 out of 10.
You can do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, when you say it, that's a brilliant. I mean, yeah, the charge and data port is USB-C. So that might be. I need to read up on my mics.
There you go. Then.
That answers the question. Thank you. Maybe I can get that cool. Oh man, I need to. So that's going to be another day at the office spent looking at mobile phones, and of course that's okay because I need a phone to do my work, to two-factor authentication and all that. So I can very easily spend company time doing that. Except I have a whole day meeting tomorrow, which I called for. Then we are back to the problem. Do I need to be there? Most likely not, but I will be. So.
Well, just be dual screen it. Meeting notes on one, phones on the other. Yeah. Just make sure you're sharing the right screen.
Yeah, that's one thing. Sharing screen, and it's also it's a physical meeting. You're flying people in because it's nice to meet up, and then sitting in a meeting room with a dual screen setup and looking at phones. Yeah. Continue. Yeah, this is. But then again, if you're facing the wall, that's it's still plausible. But we digress. Welcome to episode.
Shocking.
So, welcome to episode 123 of the Make Crude Mistakes podcast with KJ from Crude But Efficient, Phil from Esteemed Phil Makes Things, and myself, Haavard, from Behind the Mistakes. So, guys, have you made anything? KJ.
Yeah, kinda a bit. I have made progress on my on both sewing projects, but I'm not anywhere near finished yet. But that's fine. I have taken apart and put together my dust collector because it felt underpowered. So I took it apart, cleaned it, put it back together. Still felt underpowered. Heard that maybe I should check the bearings for the motor, so I took it apart even more. But the bearings felt fine, and I put it back together, and it seems to work again. So, yeah, it just took 2 turns of taking it apart and putting it back together. So that's...
Sometimes that's all it needs.
Yeah, at least it seems better now. Now actually both the bag and the air filter, both the plastic bag and air filter bag actually balloons up as it should, and not limply like it did last time. It felt like this is probably not doing its job, when just barely.
I hate when that happens, but as long as you can just take it apart and put it back together again, it's fine.
Yeah, not all things.
I was going to say, we're all of a certain age when we appreciate that things aren't quite as
rigid as before
as they used to be.
But you make do. I mean, you make it work.
Wrong, though, don't you?
You make it work with experience and endurance.
And the last days of the minus degrees, because now it's been just over the 0 last couple of days, but last days I felt, I think my workshop door could be leaking a bit less warm air. So I added more or less a woolen skirt to the top of it, because I felt that's where the draft was coming from. So I more or less tacked on some a woolen blanket, more or less, or some woolen fabric over the top to create a little air pocket on the top of the door. It feels like it helped, because I have a heated workshop, because it's part of the house, and I don't want to lose that precious heat.
No. Oh, excellent.
But that's about it. What I've made the last week, I think. But you have made a video.
Yeah, I made a box, and it sucks.
A box that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
The question is, does it suck? Because we didn't really see that in the video.
Yes, I was very disappointed at the lack of sucking action.
It is, and it's I mean, it could have sucked more. But I realized that my dust collection system is not as powerful. It could have been more powerful, but I also think that the larger diameter hose would help with the airflow, just not the pressure as well. But that's a problem for a future video. But no, the box came out, and I had a lot of fun baiting people with the dust port, where I just 3D printed it, saying "suck." It did not help. I made room for it in my workshop table, and it is at hip height. So having a hole on your workshop table saying "suck" at the right height, it looks dubious, but it works. So yeah, I made a downdraft table with a cork top. Not sure if the cork would survive the CNC drilling a lot of holes in it, but no, it turned out great. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. So now I need to use it. So I made it because I'm making that car and I need to sand it. And then I started making the table, and that was much more enjoyable than sanding that car. And then I'm thinking maybe I should make something else as well, so I don't have to pick up sanding the car. So I mean, it helps with the dust, but it doesn't make sanding any more joyful. So
I was thinking when I saw it that I was thinking a lot of things. Partly that I could use one, but also that I was wondering, because I mostly, when I sand things by hand, it's often to make stuff flat in some way, but it's something small. So I have some sandpaper glued to a flat piece of wood. So I wonder if you should use that as the base and drill holes in that and have, so instead of a cork bottom, it's sandpaper bottom that you sand on. Would that work, or would that be bad?
I mean, it would work. But you'd think to put the sandpaper there to hold the piece in place, or are you going to use it to sand? Because then you have to replace
Both.
Because then you have to replace it. I mean, even the more pricey sandpaper wears out relatively quickly.
But not as quickly as I thought it would when I glued down my first pieces on that piece of wood, because that's hold a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking that if you have a big downdraft table, should you make some pieces to cover the holes that you don't need, to add more suction from the holes that you use?
I've seen people do
Is that a
that
thing?
actually, that they put down a piece of paper over the holes that you do not use. And I left a bit of an edge on it, so I could actually make CNC like jigsaw puzzle pieces that fits in there, so you just removes the puzzle pieces that you don't need.
Some tetroids and play around with it.
Yeah.
As if you weren't procrastinating enough. I need to put some baffles on my downdraft table, but
have you seen his YouTube channel? This guy has been modifying his downdraft table for over 10 years now. Like,
well, it's edge pieces.
Yeah, it's in reality a house he's living in. So yeah.
That is easier than the workshop thing. Just taking parts from the Hellcorder and putting in valves to open and close different holes in any pattern that you like.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't be them. I mean, if you had a bit larger holes, you didn't need that many, but it's still 20, 40 holes. That's achievable on AliExpress to get that amount of solenoid valves. And then you can have an Arduino board. So then you can program which holes to be open by it detecting the workpiece you're putting down. All right, so we put something down here, so we open these holes, but we close the rest.
Absolutely. I was about to say you need a LiDAR scanner, don't you?
Yes.
So it'll effectively 3D scan whatever you put on it and then open or close the appropriate baffles. It's obviously very, very complicated.
And you still have to sand it by hand.
Yeah.
But that would be. I mean, in my dream shop, I would have integrated downdraft table in my workbench, and then it would be nice to, if not opening them in a pattern, but if you have enough solenoid valves that you can just press a button for them to open, but when you're not using it, it plugs the hole so things don't fall in there. And I'm using 20 millimeter dog holes for my dog pins or whatever they're called. And the last time I drew some holes in my tabletop for those, I just hand drilled them so they went down crooked, and that causes, when you're clamping something up, it might even just pop out. So turned out I had a lot of 20 millimeter dowels laying from another project, so I just put some glue on and stuffed that in all the holes on my tabletop so it looked like a porcupine. And then I used the Japanese pull saw and just flush cut them. And then I 3D printed a drill guide for my what's it called, the Forstner bit. So I went to town with that now yesterday and drilled a lot of holes, and they are perpendicular now, so it's very nice. So yeah, downdraft table and dog holes in. I feel like a proper woodworker. I need to get a leathern apron soon. I'm not. I don't know where this is going. So, but
Wow.
I'm not the only one. You haven't made a video yet, but I've seen you playing with your build.
Yes, the box is finished.
Ah, a box, you say?
A box, you say? Yes, a box.
A bit more fancy box, I would say.
It is a bit more of a fancy box, and it didn't take. It took me 2 months to make it, but the box is complete. The Scrabble set is complete. It was very, very well received. Well worth my time. Quote, the best thing I've ever made. So that's now set a precedent, I assume.
Yeah.
That's good, but it's not as good as the Scrabble set, is it?
Did it take 2 months? No. Okay.
Okay. No, just saying. Some things don't take that long. No, it was it was very gratefully received. It works pretty well. You have to sort of play test some of these things, don't you? And
yeah, of course.
We had a game. Some of the squares need re-gluing because obviously I didn't put enough glue in them, so there was a little bit of lift on some of those paper tiles. The video is forthcoming. The rough cut, it was about an hour. The final cut is now down to about 11 minutes, but I still haven't done an introduction. I have a introduction. I'm not happy with it, so I'm going to have to do it again. Nice. So that'll be this weekend, because there's no time in daylight hours in between then and now. So
such is life.
Such is life. Such is making in the winter. It's cold, it's wet, and it's always bloody dark.
Yeah.
But no. Yes, it is done. On to the next thing.
How does that feel to have that weight lifted from your shoulders?
Very good. Very good. Because it's like anything you want to do, you can do that, but also you haven't finished the Scrabble board.
And that is not nice.
No. But no, that's all done now. And I think the next thing is going to be also board game related, but it is much smaller and much simpler. It's just a card box.
A box again.
Another box. But do you follow on Instagram? I mean, lots of people make them, but the person I follow a lot. That doesn't make sense, does it? But someone who gets the algorithm shows their work to me more frequently than other people. It's a chappie called OD Form, who I think is a Swedish maker. Swedish woodworker.
Doesn't ring a bell.
And he makes absolutely beautiful stuff, including stuff with handmade wooden hinges. Dowel hinges, which are then integrated into the box and then trimmed flush on the back, so they disappear when you shut the box. You can't see the hinge.
I've seen those hinges though, and the name rings a bell. So yeah, might have seen some of those.
Yeah, makes some really, really beautiful things. So yeah, it's going to be a fairly simple card box. I've got a nice bit of cherry, and I've got a nice bit of walnut as well, and some oak. So a box will be made from that, and hopefully it won't take 2.5 or 3 months. It's almost the sort of thing, if you really applies yourself, you could do it in a day. But we all know that's not going to happen. It's going to take
applying
weeks.
yourself. That sounds like work.
Yeah.
Or what work should be.
Exactly. I've just come up with a sort of set of like workshop rules to stick in the front of my notebook. And rule number 2 is, this is a hobby. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
That's I think we need to bring that into the CMO group. What are the 10 workshop commandments? It should be fun. What else?
Well, rule number 1 in my notebook is, if it's in the book, it's going to get made. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime in the future, or maybe never. Let's not deal in absolutes.
That's a good rule, though. I must say, I'm thinking if I'm gonna have my notebook and have some rules, it's hard, at least not to think about Fight Club. But then again, it's hard following up those commandments when you are filming almost everything you do in your workshop and put it online.
Yeah.
So it needs some modification to the the wording of the rules.
I was thinking some kind of, it's hard to make when you're dead or something like that, as to try not to kill yourself while you're playing around in the workshop.
Oh,
Not maim yourself, that sort of thing.
Yeah. My mind just spiraled there, and since you're on a box topic, and I have set out to make art this year, as one of my project this year, should be purely art, no function or whatnot. And when you said a box, and I was thinking, how can I implement the famous line from Seven? What's in the box? And then you have a box that you cannot open, or is it a wood carved box? I like art that it's a bit like Banksy, the painting that gets shredded. I've seen a lot of people making models of that, the dumpster fire meme, where it just say it's fine, and then and then I thought, could I make the dumpster fire model but in steel, so it could be a small coffee brewer? But that would be cool, but it would make it reusable. But how if you make it from wood and you experiment on painting it and making it look like metal and everything, and put a lot of work into it, just to the final shot is you just sitting outside by the side of it and you're lighting the entire thing on flames, and you just, because it's built out of wood, it just burns and vanishes, and that's the art.
I like it.
You could do that.
Yeah. Self-referential.
Yeah. Yeah, when you were
full of whimsy.
Yeah, we were talking box like that. I was just thinking, could you do a Schrodinger's cat project?
I do have a cat.
Glue a box together with a cat inside.
I too have a cat.
And although I dislike mine very much, still I wouldn't incorporate it in a Schrodinger's cat art piece where you put it in a box and It's
I
both.
mean,
It's
don't
both.
know.
I mean, this
I
may
I love my cat very much, but sometimes sometimes you have those intrusive thoughts of maybe you'd like to go on a little day out, and maybe near a river. Yeah, this is a Hessian sack I've got with me for no reason.
Yeah, with rocks in it. So
would this project be too bad? Just have one of those boxes that you glue it totally together and just make it look like you're putting the cat in and gluing it, and then you're gonna cut off one side on the table saw
Bit like a
to make the
magician's
lid.
trick.
Yeah. Now just keep to the left of the box and cutting on the right. And then go through.
if the cat is smart enough, this will not hurt her in any way. But if she's being a dumbass, then it might sting a bit.
We would once again like to remind the listener that this is for entertainment purposes only. Nobody here has any intention of harming any cats.
No, but even making it look like you were possibly doing it, would that get you banned from the internet?
Probably people are very quick to jump
maybe.
to conclusions.
But I mean, I also see that rage baiting works for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well.
I cut my cat in half on the table saw. You'll be amazed what happened next. I wasn't prepared for this.
Saw stop? Question mark.
Oh, that being said, though, I see Sawstop has established themselves in Europe. I see they are campaigning hard on Instagram, cutting sausages left and right.
They are.
But still,
And,
none of them are. I mean, if you really want to sell it and if you believe in your product, you shouldn't use a sausage, I'm just saying. Just saying.
All in.
Because I've had a table saw for many years. I have yet to cut any sausage with it. So I'm not sure if I need a saw stop because I don't cut sausages.
Neither do they.
Exactly.
That's kind of the point.
That's the worst selling point.
Exactly.
You cannot
Every other brand, you can happily slice a salami on.
Yeah,
On
but not with ours. So
won't even touch it.
the people who are slicing sausages, it's not for them, and for the rest of us, it's not for us either because we don't. I mean, yeah, it's faulty logic at best.
That would be really fun to slap a Sawstop logo on one of those charcuterie cutting things they have in the grocery store where they cut up ham and salami and that sort of thing on.
I'm thinking it would be cool to make, and they should do this. So if you're listening, Sawstop, this one is for you for free. Yeah, of course they are. I mean, we are the top maker podcast by any metrics.
Period.
Yeah. But we have a local butcher shop that sells fish and meat. So it's a two-part. It's a surf and turf shop, if you can call it that. But I'm just picturing a low-key, mellow music, an advertisement for them, and you're just showing the various kind of beefs, and you have a chef in the chef clothing, and it's like really passionate. And here at our butcher shop, you only use the finest, and you cut them with joy, and then you can see him trying to cut it on the saw. Bam! And then like, God damn it, John, it happened again. This saw is useless. And then just really just bashing out at that saw and like, God damn it. And then go to the back and get a new blade in and do it's like, at least it's easy to fix, but I mean, God damn it. And then trying again and then, no, and then cutting advertisement.
Some saws are for meat. Some are just for woodworking.
I mean, it's amazing technology, sure, but when the brake engages, how much money does it cost to replace that blade and brake?
Isn't that £1,000 or something like that?
No, it's. I don't think it's that much. I think it's less for the cartridge, but it hurts and usually it ruins your blade. So I think if you are a proper woodworker buying a saw stop, you are probably also using more expensive blades than I do is still having the blade that followed the saw when I bought it 6 years ago or what. So I think the biggest cost is replacing the blade if that breaks, chips a tooth or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't want it. But I would be scared and triple checking everything all the time. And I mean, I it's enough to keep my hands off the blade. I don't want to think about everything else as well.
Well, I think all that, and I did read somewhere that obviously it works on, conductive technology. But if you've got a like a mitre sled, something like that, if the arm of that is metal and you're touching it with your hand, and you obviously don't want to cut the metal bit with the blade, but even if it gets just close enough, it can also trigger.
Yeah.
So you can also accidentally throw away 100 quid.
Yeah, but I mean, could they not put in like a verification step? That between it triggering, then you have to like if you're pressing something on your computer. Are you sure you want to trigger the saw stop function? Yes, no. I mean, that would save you a lot of money, wouldn't it?
A Windows saw stop. Are you sure? I looked up. They cost £79 for a 10-inch blade, so it wasn't.
Yeah, but
still,
it hurts. Yeah.
I don't want to pay that for a blade, to be honest.
But I mean, if I had a saw stop, and of course it is feeling the what did you call it? The electronic ions, inductive. It was, that's the word. So that means that there is a sensor that registers that, all right, this is now giving me this value within this band. So someone is trying to cut the sausage. I need to deploy the cartridge. And I've seen the saw functioning, and it happens so you can't really see it, and it's like a bang and it's gone, right? So it doesn't make any much sound after that either. So I would install immediately a sound module to play that Windows blue screen sound. Because that would just be the it would help and soothe the pain of having to replace your blade, and at least it made the appropriate sound.
And just a sad trombone after that.
Yeah, the clown. Yeah.
Clippy pops up. Looks like he's trying to cut a sausage. Want some help with that?
No, do you want to order a new blade? And that is, of course, there is a word for it when they jack the prices because they know that the need is going up for a period of time. So, of course, before Black Friday and not, but it would probably take them about a year before they figure out we should have Wi-Fi on our saw stops. And then, of course, every time someone breaks that, the price for cartridges go up on every website for the next 2 weeks.
I mean, you can have it connected just to that person because you probably have an account and registered everything, and so you have to go in the incognito mode to see the correct prices.
Yeah, but that being said, though, that it wouldn't be. I've seen people like, all right, they forgot to buy a second cartridge, and then you have to wait for the mail, and that is annoying. So I'm well, maybe saying this. I hate subscriptions, but that would be nice, though. I mean, once it trips that cartridge, it just automatically orders 2 new ones. And then you always have 1 extra in spare. And then after that, every time you trip it, they just send you a new one. So you always have a stock of whatever.
Yeah, I don't want my table saw connected to the internet. In the same way, I don't want my toothbrush connected to Bluetooth, connected to my phone, connected to the internet. Just don't cut your hand off with your regular table saw. That's Phil's top tip from someone who doesn't even own a table saw. Just be careful. Don't be a fucking idiot.
Engage brain before the device.
Yeah, should have that as a. That should be before the rules in the notebook. Like, don't be a dumbass. That should solve a lot, actually.
If you are going to be a dumbass, please follow the seating rules.
Have a flowchart. Do you feel like a dumbass today? Yes. Okay. Do this. No. Go play.
Yeah, probably best if you go home at this point.
That's sad, though, because I usually go home to be able to go into my workshop. And then if you're told...
You just go to work then.
I just go...
You're useless today, just go to work.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, imagine that, having to answer a series of questions before being allowed into work. Or the workshop.
I have a question for you, Phil. Give me 2 seconds.
Every other Wednesday, weather permitting, meet on the heath, ask for Claude.
I'm back. In my... It's 2 jobs away from now. I worked a lot out in the field, and you need to take notes, and you don't want to use your phone. So, of course, I went into a bookstore, and they had a sale on National Geographic Expedition Journal. So it's a small book with a rubber bandy. And
very nice.
That rubber band it has lost its elasticity, and I realized that all the blank ones has as well, because due to time. And I have some of them from work, but then I probably still have 10 of them blank. But I don't use them much, but they do have like the front page where you put in if found, or please return to, and whatnot. But I have fallen into, and people probably at work talk to me about like there's the clipboard guy, because a local design company, they sold these. It's A5 size clipboards, which are really nice, and it's the perfect size. And I found some A5 millimeter paper that I now can print out. So I have an endless array of paper inserts. It's very nice for sketching and writing things down. But that ends... I mean, it leaves me with a lot of sheets, and some of them have a good sketch on them from a meeting or whatever, and then I need to scan that and put it into a system or whatnot. And it is laborious, and usually I just save random pieces of paper until I think that, this is not relevant anyway, and then I just throw it away. So how do you stick to one notebook? Does it work for you? How do you, if you need to translate something out or into it, how do you take us through the journey?
Oh my God, the notebook system.
Yeah. I'm assuming you have an intricate notebook system.
You see the gleam in his eyes?
Yeah. Finally, someone asked. I've been waiting for 10 years for this.
Well, I don't have a notebook system as such. I always have an A5 notebook, and if it can be, it's always dot grid, because I just like dot grid paper.
And dot grid is, you have a grid of dots, but it's not fully lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then I'm on board.
Do I have anything? Stupid question. Is this dot grid? No, this is a weird hybrid. This is a Muji notebook, which is
Muji.
You might be able to just about see it, perhaps, maybe not. It's a lined notebook, but it's also squared very, very faintly.
I did not see the faint squarings. I just see the lines, which is the bastard of notebooks, because it's yeah.
I will.
It's if you. if you can't have anything else, then having nothing is better than lines.
Yeah, I like them blank.
Hold on. Again, I need to be waving my fantastic audio content. Where are my .grid notebooks? This is ridiculous. I've just pulled out 3 A5.
I'm guessing
notebooks
you
and
just saying what you're saying now. That just answers my question I had about your system. So yeah.
So squared paper or .grid is my favorite, but any of that. And then generally, I just don't throw my notebooks away. I just have a big box full of old notebooks. I do categorize them. I like have an index card, and they're all saved by date. Yeah, because that's a nerd. And it's got like when I start a new notebook, I'll have a started on and ended on date. Like if you're using one of these little field note ones, very usefully they have all that printed in there, so you can just say when you started it and when you ended it. But then I'll write that on the front of the book when it goes into storage with a number, and then the index card will have the number of the notebook and the dates that it was used.
Do you put in some highlights of the notes? This book contains, among other things, a drawing of a table, some weird scribblings, a phone number I don't know who it is.
No, not generally. Although that's not a terrible idea.
And you maybe graded from, A to F or something like that. How useful it seems, the stuff that is in it when you put it.
Yeah, maybe. I should start doing that. Because I tried having a digital system. I tried having like a digital scrapbook. And I just didn't get on with it. But maybe I was reusing the wrong piece of software. I am sort of trying to move everything very slowly into Notion. The platform, because that seems to be a very useful piece of software for planning and having lists and making notes and having it all in one place, and it's across all devices because it's on the web.
Is it called the platform?
It's called Notion.
Oh, yeah. The platform is a better name. Just saying.
The platform. Yeah. There was AnyType, I think, which is a sort of like a Notion clone, which they said was free, but then I tried it and didn't like it. So now it's one of the few pieces of software that I actually don't mind paying for because it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. Of course, I'm stuck with the Google environment, so of course I have the shared calendar with the wife. I don't like using the Google app though, because that is shite. So I use another calendar app whenever I can. And then I'm using Google Keep, which I had an old app on my, I think it was iPhone 4, which was the perfect note app. But at some point, the developers, we need to expand, we need to make it better. And then they just made it shittier and shittier and shittier that now it's unusable. But I have in Google Keep, you can also share. So me and the wife, we have the shopping list. So if there is anything we see that we need in the house, you put it in there. And every time some of us go to the store, you have an updated list. And then, of course, I have podcast topics. I have all my ramblings and whatnot. And it's kind of good, but it's not as aesthetic pleasing as having a notebook or a system. And it's very easy to export to Google Docs or anything, but they're made it really hard for you to just copy and paste a list to put it into Microsoft Word or OpenOffice or whatever. They really want to keep you in their own apps. So just by that, I dislike it.
No, there is a lot to be said to have. I mean, I I do more analog note taking than I do digital. And when I finish one notebook, anything that's important, I'll just copy over into the first few pages of the new notebook. You just skip through it and go, that's important. Yeah, phone numbers or a sketch or an idea, or just tear the page out and glue it on. You know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it's called. One thing that I really enjoy by using paper is the tactile feeling of the paper and using a pen. And of course, they have this. It's not an iPad, but it is something that feels like paper, and it's basically just in gray colors. But you can sketch on it, and it will save notes and whatever, and you can just upload that to a computer. But
that's remarkable.
Yes, remarkable. And now they made a smaller one.
It's a good name, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, and
it's a great product.
It's a great product, and now they made one A5 size, so it matches what I already know. So then I thought, could I upload a template that looks like, because I'm using millimeter paper, so instead of the dot grid, I have some millimeter grid, and then you can have at the right, all right, name of project, parts list, and whatnot. I'm playing around with various templates for my system. And then if I could put it on Remarkable, because then this is good. You press save, and it automatically just loads it up to some master document, or so you have it digitally. Because then it's easy. I need this for a sketch for a YouTube video. I could just transfer it in to Photoshop or whatever, make it into vector graphic, and it makes my life easier. But it costs like £500, and then you have to buy the pen, and you still need to use their app. I think it's linked to that, so it's not.
It's a great product, but it is not cheap, and the subscription to get all the cloud stuff is ridiculous.
That's also the subscription. So it's like, I read it, I got excited, and like I read all the subscriptions, like, oh, so close, but no. But I mean, they're getting there. So someone will like think that this is a good idea.
There is Remarkable, but there's a Kobo. I think it's Kobo e-ink. It's essentially an e-reader, but it's quite large. I think it's sort of if you imagine what A5 Plus might be, it's bigger than A5, but it's not A4. B5 maybe. And I think that's like a 6-color e-ink one, which you can use with a stylus, and you can write on it and use it as a notepad as well as an e-reader. And I think at the moment they're about £200, and there's no subscription with them, unless you want to subscribe to their audio books and their reading books service, a bit like Amazon Prime. But I think you could just use it as a device, and then just connect it with the USB cable up to your computer.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into it that closely, to be honest.
Because if they could combine that, because I've also looked into Wacom's drawing pads, and of course one thing is having the pad and the pen on your table, and then you have to look at the screen, and then your hand is off to the right doing something, so it takes a bit of time to get used to. But I like the one where you have it's an actual screen that you can draw on, so you see your pencil marks like 1-to-1 while you're doing them. But then again, they are like, I think the smallest version is like £1,700 so like they are stupid expensive, but they don't have the Remarkable function as well. Yeah, so if they could have that, but something in the glass that make it feel like the same tactile experience as on paper, now we're talking. Then but still the price needs to come down. They need to move the comma at least 1 decimal point for it to be interesting.
No, I know someone who has one, and they think it's wonderful, but I mean, for them, it's a business expense, so they can sort of legitimately spend the money. But It is a large sum of cash for what it is, but then it's a pretty niche product, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm trying. I'm usually, when it comes to buying tools, I'm very good at persuading myself into needing things. And with the Wacom, whatever, it it acts as a separate screen as well, so you could run any Windows app on it. And of course, when I'm making or recording me drawing anything in CAD, I use OBS. So if I could use the OBS to just record the screen, then I could, when you're making some live sketches for your YouTube videos, you can have the microphone on, and then you can explain what you're thinking while you're drawing. So you take a box and you draw a box while you're talking, and it records it. So I see a lot of usages for it, but still, it's just my hobby, and I would rather buy a lathe than a drawing pad, because they cost roughly the same. So,
there is that. There's more fun things to put that money to. But I mean, speaking of tactile, I just remembered how nice tactile writing can be in real life, because I remember that I had a blackboard, a small blackboard laying around. So I put that up on the wall and just noted down my project list on it. And it was so nice to write on an old-fashioned blackboard with bits of chalk, and it felt so good doing it, and it looks good as well. So
and there's a big difference between using a proper blackboard and just a piece of hardboard that's been painted with blackboard paint.
And
proper slate blackboard is a really, really nice thing to write on.
And proper chalk. I like the niche documentaries, and a few years back I saw a documentary. It's a Japanese company, I think, that make chalk, that university professors all over the world fell in love with this, and at some point, of course, chalkboards are going away. So the production dwindled, and then at some point it was a family-owned business or something, and the kids did not want to take over, so we are producing the last batch, and then we are closing the door. And all the professors united, so they bought up everything, so they stocked up, so that, like, if I'm a 40-year-old teacher, they calculated I need this much for the rest of my career, and they bought that. The good news is someone took over the equipment, and the company continues, but they showed the difference between that chalk and other chalk, and it really makes a difference. And I really don't understand. In the company where I'm living, we have, of course, a lot of meeting rooms, and they have the Teams functionality and whatnot, but they haven't incorporated these smart boards. So we still have dumbass whiteboards, which is good. Not many of us use them, so I understand they don't want to spend a lot of money on that. But surely, why couldn't they just get blackboards then? It would be so much cooler. And you still have to, you manually write on them, and then when you're done, you have to use a sponge instead of that, whatever you call the thing that you use to on whiteboard. But I mean, yeah.
And there's nothing quite so satisfying as getting a really, really loaded up chalk eraser, chalk rubber, and then just slapping someone on the back with it, so they get a nice big mark on them that never comes out.
Exactly. And that is, of course, I remember when I saw this documentary now, because I worked as an inspector in a new building of ships. So a lot of the work was crawling around, inspecting welds. And if you find something that wasn't up to standards, you used the chalk to mark it. But then, of course, you always broke the chalk. So you had just some small pieces in the pocket of your overalls. And then, of course, you forgot about them and you threw it in the washing machine. And then you got soggy chalk in your pockets, and it was a mess. And then a friend of mine worked as a teacher. You should just get one of those. And then he went down into his bag and like pulled up this chalk holder. And these are, of course, paraphernalia for teachers in a very narrow niche. But I got one of those, so I have them in a box somewhere. But I don't use chalks anymore. But I got a glorified chalk holder, and they're brilliant. So I bought one, and of course, when I use it, people at work, where did you get that? Oh, they sell them online. Just go to Staples or whatever. You can get a cheap one. And like, oh, brilliant. So I felt I aided a bit in that revolution of keeping chalk alive, or the associated paraphernalia, or whatever you call it. But yeah, chalkboard. Or could you get it in other colors than black? Because I like the blue blueprints. So could I get a chalkboard, but with a blue grid background? Then I could. I don't want to spend $2,000 on a Wacom, but if somebody sold a $2,000 blueprint chalkboard, I might be easily fooled.
Well, yeah. Well, at school, I remember at school you'd have the traditional slate boards, but then when you moved up into the big school, they had like those rolling ones, which must have been some sort of fabric, and those were either black or green. But I don't see why there shouldn't be a blue one.
No, unless the proper ones, it is the specific material properties that makes them
Suitable.
just have to be black. Because if you just take a MDF or something and paint it with that chalkboard paint, that is.
Did they sell blackboard paint in any color? It sounds like green, gray, pink. Mix it however you like. Dark green.
We are definitely
blue,
into
so yeah.
half pint kind of Googling territory here, aren't we?
Very much. It did cross my mind if like we need to go into the half pint now because I need to Google chalkboards.
Should this be half pints?
Yes. Do a cut here.
Okay.
Yes.
Chop.
Goodbye. See you in a half pint for more chalkboard talk.
Thanks for listening. Ta-ta.
Ta-da.
Bye-bye.